and welcome to The Winning Factor. I'm Alan Aitken, and on this show each week we take a look at some upcoming races in Hong Kong and we try to isolate the key ingredient of the race that we might look back on later as having been a path to finding the winner. Well, Sunday at Sha Tin, and the first of our races to look at this week is race 6 and our winning factor, the quick backup. We look across the field for this 1600 metre class 4, and I think there is a handful of identifiable strong chances here. We've got Central Express from the John Size Yard stepping up to the mile, Telecom Rocket, who hasn't had a lot of luck with his barrier draws lately, and that bad luck continues here. But mostly I want to talk about Ricky Yu's pair of runners, Emerald Spur and Cheerful Leader. Well, Ricky Yu having a red letter season so far. He's at the top of the championship ladder. He led in another treble at Happy Valley on Wednesday night. He's going great guns, and I don't really think there is an awful lot between his pair here, Emerald Spur and Cheerful Leader. Now for Cheerful Leader, we're going back to his most recent start, to race 167. And Cheerful Leader, he's been a horse who improved at each of his 3 starts. And this is his most recent. He's handy to the pace over the 1600 metres, and he finishes a solid third to Blastoise around a month ago. That's a nice indicator that he's nearing a win. Emerald Spur, on the other hand, is already a winner of 2 races this season, and he's stepping up to the mile, and he's come off the reserve list for this run that we're going to show you from last Sunday, race 227. This is 1400 metres, and he got well back in the field in about midfield or a little worse, and you see he closes the race off well here, getting home for 4th and very close to the place getters here in yet another excellent effort from this horse this season. Now I think you can make a case for either of these horses as the winner of Sunday's race based on those performances. So how do we split them? Well, one of the things that I want to show you here is Ricky Yu's statistics with horses coming back to the races a week after their last run. This is a thing that a lot of trainers like to do because it means you've got a race fit horse, and for the punter it tells you that the horse is healthy and well and he's come through his run fine. And if we look at the statistics here, firstly we've got over the last 5 seasons since 2014, statistics for the top 5 trainers with a 1-week backup. And as you can see, Ricky Yu very high up on the list there, in fact in the top 3 over that period, and features very prominently also when we take that down to horses which are coming off a good performance. You see all the strike rates go up for horses which have come back after a 1, 2, 3, 4 finish the week before. Very high strike rates there, and Ricky Yu right up amongst the top contenders in that list. So certainly something to look for with Ricky's horses. Now when we go to the map for this race, I think it probably is going to suit both of Ricky's runners. There isn't an obvious leader. Cheerful Leader has his blinkers for the first time here. He's been on the pace, as we've already seen, so he might be able to just stroll to the lead and control things here. But I think stepping up to a mile also is going to see Emerald Spur figure closer in the running as well, and he should be in reasonable touch with his stablemate. But the tip in race 6, Emerald Spur, his winning factor, the quick backup. I think, as I've outlined, there isn't a great deal between these horses, both of Ricky Yu's runners, from the top in-form stable. But when we look at Ricky's record with horses coming back to the races after a week, they've got a very strong performance level, and I think that just gives the nod to Emerald Spur. The second race we're going to take a look at on Sunday is the final race, race 10, and the winning factor here, the tempo. Well, this is a class 3 over 1600 metres, and I think 2 runners really stand out here. A couple of horses still with some upside to them. Reliable Team from Frankie Law's yard, and also Tony Millard trained Ezra, who has let the side down a few times but has often had legitimate excuses. And we're going to take a look at what these 2 horses have done at their most recent appearance. First of all, Reliable Team, we're going to have a look at race 187, a race at Happy Valley which he won narrowly, but I thought there was plenty of merit in the win. As you can see on the heat map here, The early stages, not that strong the pace, but in the second section, from the 1200 metres to the 800 metres, some street somewhere was caught wide. His rider charged around the field trying to get in, and that upped the tempo in front for a few hundred metres. And although Zach Purton was able to come back and ease out of that pressure with Reliable Team, it did mean that the leaders didn't get much of a rest mid-race. But we'll see here in the straight, Reliable Team strong at the finish, holding off the second and third horses who had both had much kinder trips in the run to the home straight. Now, if you're one of those who backed Ezra at his most recent start when he started favourite, so there were plenty of you, you might have wondered why he got back so far in the race. And we're going to show you the head-on of the first half of that race and show you exactly what happened to him. He's the grey, he's in barrier 6 here in race 217, and you'll see he jumps okay, and Sylvester de Souza was going to get a decent position in midfield, but you'll see quite a few horses coming across the face of him from the outside, and he then gets stuck outside a line of horses sitting too wide, and Sylvester doesn't have really anything he can do except get shuffled back to try and get in closer to the rail. And by the time he gets to the home turn, he's all the way back to last. And then we see him in the straight. He does pull 4 lengths off the leaders, even though he only finishes midfield, and this is a better run than it looks. So as painful as that was to re-watch, I guess, if you backed him, there were reasons for Ezra's defeat there. And I think when we look at the map this time, he's going to be in a much better position in the running. He steps up to 1600 metres here, but also he's got gate 1, and I would think that the combination of those two things, he will be a little bit closer in a race with not much pace. But that also opens the way for a Reliable Team to do what he did at Happy Valley, roll forward, but this time I don't see any opposition for the front running, and Zach Purton should be able to just dictate how this race is run. Now there is the question of Sha Tin. Reliable Team has only ever raced at Happy Valley, so it's a query at this stage whether he can bring that form to the bigger track, but unfortunately that's something we won't know until after the race on Sunday. So the tip in race 10, Reliable Team. I think he and Ezra stand out here, but he's got the winning factor of the tempo. I expect him to go to the front and control the race, and that's going to be the key ingredient to sorting out the winner. Well, that's it from the winning factor this week. Good luck on Sunday. We'll see you next time.